Hey everybody, John St. Baptiste here. We are doing this week's episode of the Cylon Johns for one of, I think, personally, the best episodes of the entire series.
Guess who has to go out?
Last week, I told you guys I had to give it a 9.7 or something like that because this episode, as good as last week's episode is, this week's episode is just freaking amazing. And so I'm pretty excited to talk about that. Hello, everybody out there in the chat, or everybody who's coming afterwards to check this out. Really excited to talk about this. If you're of Scottish heritage, I hope you're having a great Burns Day. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce our panel here, which is smaller than usual, but that happens occasionally.
As is life. Clarissa is she's been boxed for today. I don't know, or she's missing today. Johnny, he's out there doing what he does. But it's me and Bobby with you today. So we got two Jills and then one John. But I'm Mackenzie, and as you can tell on the screen, my last name is Burns, but I don't believe I'm related to Robbie Burns, but there probably was a Robert Burns in my family at some point. So anyway, I'm excited to talk about this episode with you, John and Bobby. Like, this episode, I have to be honest, I think I watched it like 4 times because I had to it was more to focus on what was happening with Starbuck and more specifically what Hybrid was saying. But yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, let's talk about it. But while Bobby sits there in the nice Florida looking so pretty.
Very funny.
Oh, and by the way, our other panel member, Amy, I think she's still wrestling that bear.
Yes. Yeah.
If I remember correctly, she's... It's a throwdown. It
came back for another.
Yeah, she's still wrestling the bear.
Hey,
Bobby, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Bobby.
The beautiful Bobby Catalan.
And thanks for all those nice things you said, Mackenzie.
Any overview thoughts you have about this episode before we dive into it?
Me?
Yes, you.
Yeah, this was a good episode. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I want to see more.
I know. I feel
like answers. I want them now.
I feel like it'll ramp up. Like, this shows the trajectory of how fast this ship's gonna take off after this. Like, we've been slow climbing. Like, now it's like gonna soar off.
Yep, I'm ready.
Yeah, we got someone named Bobby Catalano joining us in the chat. I don't know who she is, but she must be nice. She comes here every week. We also got someone named the Cylon Johns. Don't know who they are. Like, come on, what's going on with that? As well as Alicia Kingston's also here. AK, shout out to the Lord Commander. As well as, Clarissa Thompson, whoever she is, but she's another pretty lady, based off of Raftar. And and then there's also some guy named John St. the Baptiste. I don't know, or Baptiste. I don't know who he is, but he's also here today. But he's also here, and some random ass channel called the Episode Club. Don't know what that is all about. I guess they talk about episodes of TV. I don't know, but yeah. So, let's where do we start? Boston?
Yes, and also welcome to anybody who comes on a bit later.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with
Want to do Rosalind first? 'Cause that's pretty powerful. Because if we talk about Rosalind first, then we don't have to jump back in the middle of our conversation.
This is true. This is true. This is a hard episode to break down. Yeah, let's talk about Rosalind first, because her storyline and her new, very short spanned friend,
Mm-hmm.
Emily. That's one of the things that makes this episode so intense. And by the way, I have to say, the makeup was spot on. I don't know if anybody else here has ever been in a situation where they're with somebody who's a late stage cancer patient, but the makeup was spot on.
Mm-hmm. Even like the dialogue that they have in like the second meeting, or like the second grouping of conversations that they have is pretty powerful. Yeah, we start off with Rosalind talking to Tori about basically how she has to be effectively Rosalind's eyes and ears at every meeting because she feels like her brain is going to start failing her in terms of like keeping up with the meetings and the information that's going on. And you also see that Rosalind isn't wearing her wig and that she's lost, or a wig, effectively, and she's lost all of her hair.
Yeah.
Which is quite jarring.
I remember the first time I saw that was like she's got cancer. But I remember the first time I saw that, like,
oh yeah, that made it real.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That made it real.
Yeah, and she also tells Tori that she noticed the personality change in her from a couple of months ago. So this gives us confirmation that it's been a few months now since season 3, episode 20, which was the reveal of final four or five Cylons, which was quite interesting. And how like Tori plays it off like, I don't know, maybe it was Baltar that helped my personality. It's like maybe more than one way Baltar changed your personality there. Yeah, like Rosalind in this episode, I've come to really enjoy her character, especially when she talks about the stuff with Emily about cancer. Because it hits home for me, and I bet a bunch of people that are watching this, about people who died from diseases or just died too early. But yeah, like I like how Rosalind, though, in that first scene, even though it's jarring to see it without her wig or any head dressing on, it shows you the state of how she's feeling and how I feel like the next couple of episodes are going to go surrounding the political drama, because we haven't gotten much of that. So that'll be, I think, a thing that will be in the next couple of episodes. It'll amp up the political drama because we have now more named characters involved in the like not more, but like Lee's now, like what Bobby mentioned pre-stream. There's like Lee's now involved heavily with the government. Tom Derek's likely to come back, et cetera, et cetera. So more government stuff's at play. Bobby, what did you think about Tori with that?
Hey, hobbyist. I was expecting to see what's her name?
Tori?
Diana.
Oh, Deanna Beers, yeah.
Diana. What is it?
Deanna. She was brought up this episode.
She was. I was expecting to see her. The president, though, I was not expecting to see that. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, did I miss an episode? I mean, they went right from, yes, I'm taking Kamala because my cancer's back, to boom.
Well, I mean, they have said
No.
she has cancer since pretty much like the beginning of the series.
Yeah, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
You expected it to just like never progress, or
Space chemo is intensive.
Yeah, how am I supposed to know? Could have had another infusion of baby's blood. I don't know.
it's true. Well, that's one of the things I like so much about the show is and I'm not trying to insult another franchise here because I actually do like Star Trek quite well,
I do too.
but it's not like there's a magic wand you wave over somebody and they're like healthy.
Oh, I believe that's Harry Potter.
That's Star Trek too.
Harry Potter.
Oh, with that little light thing.
You know, so
Little box.
I like that it. There are real ramifications to people getting diseases.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
yeah, you got to make a show that's about humanity, more or less, and not like creatures with humanity. Make it realistic. So,
Ooh, we'll get into that one in a little bit.
I want to get to the 6th fight.
oh yeah, talk about it.
That's what I want to get to.
But yeah, we get the patient.
Yeah, so Rosalind, the first time she talks to this woman, I mean, the woman's obviously very upset. And Rosalind tries to shut off her radio that's playing the Baltar show, the Baltar Evangelical Hour.
The podcast or the live stream, the audio only live stream of
And
Pius Gaius.
the woman gets really upset with her, and then they have that conversation about hope and religion and belief, and I think it's really intriguing that Laura, in the same very small space of time, says that that's the Cylon god, not our god, and also pretty much admits that she's an atheist.
Yes.
But really in the same like 2-minute window during that conversation. I was wondering if either of you had any thoughts about that.
The conversation that she has with Emily is like the first initial conversation, where they're talking about like Baltar and the cancer and stuff, because how it spurs, I think, is, if I remember, I watched this episode a couple times, that the nurse is like bugging her, like bugging Emily, and then she's like, oh, she poked me like 3 times today. Like, it's one of those things where they start on common ground and then it goes to more deeper conversations about like gods and such. And with that, I kind of expected someone like Rosalind to not be such a believer, because she was so hard against, like, at least Baltar's religion. She was so against it. He was just like, you think you're a god? And it's like, ha ha ha, like that aspect. Yeah, she tries to find common ground with this woman who clearly is invested in some aspect into religion. So it's towing that line of not I don't say extremist, but like more hardcore than somebody else. And I think she wants to be able to believe in something before she dies, because that's part of the dialogue. Is that she's like basically effectively waiting to die, which they kind of get into in another part of their conversation. So it's like, why as well listen to something, even if it means nothing in the end. Like she talks about how her husband died and her kids died in the Cylon War. As Rosalind mentions, like this is the Cylon god that Baltar is referring to, and then she's like, ultimately, like if this is the Cylon god and we're supposed to be together, then it's one god in the end, which was kind of interesting. And you could see also why someone could lose faith in terms of if they're sick like that, though. Like some people sometimes, especially if they're a or tend to lean on the religious side, could lose faith in religion. But then there's the people who have never had faith or are very anti-religion, and then if they become sick like that, then they become very religious. So I'm not surprised that Rosalind used to be or staunch like non-believer, but now she's like, because of the whole fact that she's the dying leader, and the scriptures say that like a dying leader is supposed to help them, or at least the scriptures from Kobol did. So
No, I see where it's interesting. Something I've always found interesting. A very good friend of mine, my goddaughter's father, is an atheist. That's the way he was raised. That's that's what he believes, and I'm sure everyone stopping by this channel knows I'm a person of faith. And we never argue or anything like that, and he never gets evangelical about his atheism. And I was talking to him about it once, and he said, have you ever noticed that people who are raised that way are usually pretty reasonable and logical? The atheists who are very anti-church, anti-religion, anti anybody who believes in anything are generally people who grew up in that type of environment and then decided to go a
step
separate
away.
way.
Yeah.
And it really interested me because he pointed that out to me, and I'm like, I've never thought about it, but like if I take everybody I know like straight down the board, it's like yeah. It's pretty interesting how that plays out. Also, I'm very intrigued with Bobby's opinion about that, about Rosalind's devotion / not devotion.
Bobby?
What?
I thought you might have an interesting opinion on the fact that in pretty much the same sentence, Rosalind says, Baltar's God is not our gods. And then pretty much denies the validity of any divine being. I was wondering if you had a thought on that.
I don't know. I caught it, but I just thought it was funny because whatever she believed in God has the same, believe it or not, it's all about faith. There's nothing, I don't even know how to put it. She may not believe in Gaius as God. I think Gaius is God. He's got something to do with God. He's right up there if he's not God. Cylon God.
He's Jesus.
He's something. He's something to do with it. I don't know. Maybe, I don't really know how to put that into words without sounding like an idiot like I already just tried. They explained it perfect. She said, how can you believe that? And the other lady said, how can you believe that? And they did dress funny, so what the hell, you know? She was right.
Yeah.
Don't make no sense. It was a
So
very
maybe
good
it's
point
meant
on
to.
both their parts.
Maybe
Were
it's
you
meant to
expecting
be
Emily to
something.
die?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost thought the president was going with her, though.
Yeah, because they make that whole, not analogy, but it's kind of an analogy, like how, like, or the dream that, like, she's on a boat, like, I'm on a boat. No, I'm not gonna do that. Um, but that they're on, like, the boat, and that there's that all of the people that have died before you are on this island, and that they're waiting for you to come onto that island. And obviously, um, with Emily, she has her husband there, she has her two daughters there, her mom's there. I'm assuming her father's there, like her sister's there, like all of these people are there. So she was like the last person to, I guess, die in her immediate to like slightly extended family. So it's not surprising that she would do that. And then because before then she gives her a gift of, I'm assuming, a headscarf. Um and
Yeah, that's what I
says,
was assuming it was,
yeah,
too.
and then it says it's going to get a lot worse, is one of the things that she said, because they also talk about hair and like how with the treatments that they're getting, like with most forms of treatment like chemo, you lose all your hair, and then if you're able to go into remission with cancer, it's supposed to grow back. Most times it's different, it's never the same. So they, when they put the whole thing of like, what type of hair do you want when this is all over, and Rosalind's like, I want royal blue hair, like
Yeah, that
maybe
was funny.
blue, like royal blue, like it's like, it was really funny. Um but yeah, I think it was because she also talks about her mom, Rosalind. She talks about her mom and saying that she wasn't, she, to her mom in that same thing, on the boat. She says that I'm not ready, which to me thinks that she's not going to be ready until like the last episode. Like Laura Rosalind is not dying until like the last episode, because they haven't gone to Earth yet, and a whole bunch of stuff has to happen before Laura Rosalind can die. Um, I'm
Is
not
that your
surprised.
theory for this week?
I have a couple theories this week. This one like spun a whole bunch of theories into my head, but yeah,
It made your head explode?
a little bit. But it also added to a theory that I kind of just blurted out um, a couple episodes ago.
About Ellen
Uh,
Ty.
no, Anders, about how Anders may be a hybrid.
Yeah, he must be something special, I think.
Hmm. But with
At least
one, the,
looks that
yeah,
way.
the one thing though with like the Rosalind talk about like how it's like all of this stuff, it it sort of presents how people of faith present are presented with heaven is like that, but they obviously didn't want to make it like heaven, or make it like the Norse belief of like Valhalla, um, and stuff like this. So it was nice. Um, it was nice to have the send off that that character had, even though they were on for one episode.
I
Um,
think that lady made her see that, like, took away that bad experience that she had when her mother died,
mhm.
because if she hadn't done that, was she going to see the black abyss that this lady had gone to? I mean, why is she seeing other people's deaths anyway?
Yeah,
Must be deeply emotional.
yeah,
You
because
got a rough episode.
this one, it was a hard hitting this episode, and it really ties into its title, which is called Faith. If you didn't mention that
Yeah,
earlier, this episode was called Faith,
definitely.
and it plays on faith in a couple of sides. Like Baltar, although he's like off screen, it's spewing um, messages of faith. Rosalind has having her faith challenged in a few different directions in terms of people in her, that this woman that she met that dies, and as well as how faith happens after you die, and we all know with the Starbucks stuff and that form of faith too. So
maybe this Baltar is the Cylon's savior. Not exactly God, but godlike.
maybe.
Yeah, this episode pulls at the feels a lot. Pulls at the brain a lot too. It's
Yeah.
it's a lot to digest in 45 minutes.
Yeah, and they really did. So I know we're like talking still about Rosalind a little bit, but they really did those scenes between Rosalind and Emily well, but they didn't overdo it because I know you can have ways of overdoing a dying person or a sick person. Like you can like make it very dramatic. Like they only had, I think, the one scene where it was very touchy, like when they like needed Doc Ock's like intervention, but it was done like well enough where it wasn't like, oh, like this
Right.
is too much kind
It
of
wasn't
thing.
sappy.
Which I like that part about it. But it was sad to see that character go, even though we know that she was only going to be around for like probably an episode and a half. But it was nice too that she didn't turn down when she realized that the woman was no longer there. That she didn't turn off Baltar's, uh, the Pious Guys podcast or whatever you want to call that. But yeah, I think it's just like to have the essence of her there, so which was nice.
Well, I like the
Amazing
consistency.
podcast.
I like the consistency they have with the show. That it's not just like combat situations that are filmed in gritty reality and seem grounded in the real world, but it's like everything, like you were saying, like they didn't make the whole relationship between Rosalind and Emily sappy or steel magnolias or some shit like that. Like it really, I mean, it felt real. If you've ever been in that situation where you're in the hospital with somebody who's terminally ill, it really feels that way. And there are good moments and there are very bad moments, especially depending on the person.
Yeah, what they got wrong with them too, because I think she said that she had like liver cancer on her liver or something like that. Like yeah, those there's not much that they can do for you really, especially because they're not, I wouldn't say running out of space chemo, but you know they gotta dole it out in such a matter because you know you never know if somebody comes through the door and they also have it. So
How many people they got with cancer?
a couple, I guess, because it's like they've been on this ship for what, 4 years at least.
A little over 3. In fact, they even addressed that this episode because when she's talking to Rosalind, she says, you know, imagine what your whole family does, and then you find out that you get to spend 3 years rotting away in a sick bay.
She's been there the whole time.
That's what it sounds like. I think that's the implication.
No wonder she was mad about the catheter.
Then that kind of calls into question. So I guess Harris too. Then how? Because they were on the ship for at least almost a year. If that messes with the timeline in a sense, because
It does, yeah. Because my thought would be like from from
I thought it would been 4 years.
4 years.
So unless they miscounted the year on New Caprica or whatever.
We're also talking about a terminal cancer patient on a lot of pain meds. She might have forgotten a day or two.
Yeah, or been asleep for maybe enough days that it makes up a half a year or whatever. Because I think she's a year in it. But anyway, or who knows? We'll get a time jump and it'll be enough time to make up for the time that.
I'm still mad at Tori.
Yeah, that crazy lady.
Yeah, we might as well go ahead and talk about the Tori Minna story in here. Go ahead and explain why you're mad at her, Bobby.
Because she killed Kaylee. And thinks nothing of it. And now she's just hanging out with the president of all people like nothing happened.
What's her job to hang out with the president, Bobby?
Not after killing someone. Pretended it didn't happen. Now, where's Terrell? Where's the baby? Did you kill them too? I didn't see him, did you?
He was in the last episode.
Yeah. Nikki was in the last episode.
That was the last episode. This is a new one.
Well, we have to assume that it's been only like mere minutes after the end of the last episode, based off where we start this episode.
Oh, I don't assume that. I assume it's a whole day. Because I got to wait a whole week.
Because last episode ends with Hilo taking Kara away from command, and it literally starts moments after that, where like where Anders is, well, we'll get to that in a second, but it's like Anders is like, you know who's captain? It's Captain Kara Thrace, and like all of that stuff goes down to yeah,
but it was at least 14 hours.
No, that's from the end of what happens in the beginning to
14
when they
hours
forget
was today?
that. Yeah.
Or this episode.
Yeah, because it's after certain things happen, which we'll talk about, and then they're like, because
still mandatory.
I think we'll back, but yeah.
Before we get into that story, which we're about to, yeah, do either of you have any final thoughts about Tori?
I wish I had Mackenzie's memory of Tori.
Tori is. There's a reason why she killed Callie. And I feel like the reason is that there's something in her backstory that's related to Tyrell that we don't know yet. And
well, didn't Callie, she was mad. She found out they were Cylons and she was going to say something.
Yeah, so there may be a thing where she might be slowly remembering stuff that's happened. So maybe, and probably also she was jealous too, because like, haha, look at me go.
Yeah, they didn't really tell us what went on with Kaylee. John, you're gonna have to.
Sounds like I say nothing. I know nothing.
Well, we might have missed something.
John's basically like, go back and rewatch.
When you guys miss something, I usually will bring it up. Just pointing that out. I usually do bring it up when you guys miss something.
Yeah. But I think that Tori, well, they also had to make it like Tori's like the crazy one out of like the two of them, because having Tyrell throw Callie across an airlock, Ty throwing Callie across an airlock, or Anders throwing Callie across an airlock would bring up way more problems.
Okay.
Than Tori, like, because the socio-political, like us watching this show would be
I
like,
wanted Anders to touch that.
Like, would it be like the social justice warriors and all of us would be like, why is Ty like throwing Callie across an airlock? Why is like it'd be like, why is a man hitting a woman?
Well, come on,
person?
Ellen and
but like
Salty were always throwing punches.
Well, like that whole thing is the bad. But it'd be like because it's like in some way a consenting thing that they have done that or whatever. Even though it's like there's blurred lines in that, but it's like people could view Callie as
Learn.
more of an innocent in that aspect. That she's like, she just happened to find out that her husband's Cylon. Presumes that, I don't know, that she didn't mention Nikki, which is the one sticking point is that she didn't think that Nikki might be a Cylon. So I still believe that Nikki is not Tyrell's child, that it's somebody else's kid. Because Nikki is, and I think that,
Whose child do you think he is?
I said this a couple of times. So it has to be a named character, but all of the named like a named character that we haven't seen a lot. So the named characters that I can at least remember that we don't see every episode or main POV style characters.
Tom Selleck.
No, is Hot Dog or Skulls, but Nikki is also not a mixed child, so makes me think that it's Hot Dog. I said this.
That's an interesting theory.
Because also,
so you're saying Bill Adama, you are not the father.
I don't think that Bill Adama would want to have sexual relations with Callie because he's got his lady love, Laura Roslin, even if they hadn't been
or Bobby
intimate
Terry,
as of late.
Tom Zarek.
Tom Zarek wasn't. I don't think Tom Zarek would be like no. Because I don't even think, again, with the timeline, that Tom Zarek was even remotely close to the Galactica. He might have been on like.
Well, she's been traumatized by something.
She was on the planet and he was on the planet.
I don't. No, it doesn't. No. But yeah, it could be that she technically had a bastard child, even though it's not a nice way to say it, but historically.
When a meat bag really likes another meat bag.
Oh Jesus!
Then sometimes.
Oh Jesus! But I think
they have a special dance that they do. And
either way,
that's how little meat bags come along.
Either way, I'm still sticking with that, and it also gives Hot Dog more, not relevance to the story, but like he becomes pulled into the story more because, hey, a person's nickname who's Hot Dog, you gotta have like a funny storyline. Plus, he was pretty prevalent in the last episode.
Speaking of which, have either of you ever seen Bodhi Olmos in anything else?
Who?
Bodhi Olmos, the young man who plays Hot Dog.
Nope. I've never seen any of those people.
I mean, he's a good actor, and like he's Edward James Olmos' kid. I'm just surprised that I can't remember anything else I've ever seen him in.
That's his son?
Yeah, that is Commander Adama's son. Or Admiral Adama's son.
He is known for Battlestar Galactica, Stand and Deliver, Walkout, and something called Re-Silence or Resilience. I don't know.
Nice. Blade Runner. Stand and Deliver. That always it's a great movie. Don't get me wrong, but it always makes me think of the South Park episode.
That's funny.
About Stand and Deliver. Did you ever see that?
No.
These kids, I can't get through to them. Like Cartman, it's
Cartman. Ridiculous.
I think I was like still too young when like South Park was very, very. I know it's still popular now, but when it was very popular, I'm funny. I'm taller than Bodiamos. He's 5'7" 3/4" tall,
What are you?
like 5'10",
You're a lot
basically.
taller.
Basically, I'm like 5'9.5", 5'10". It just depends on the day. Sometimes.
Yeah, that sounds about right because I'm pretty significantly taller than you.
Well,
He's
the
taller than me.
the chiropractor when I was like 6 months old or whatever was like, yeah, I'll be about 6 feet tall. I was close, so I'm like, I'm pretty close. So
Yeah.
You should feel
Definitely.
happy that you're not, because women's pants are not made for tall women. My sister has to take the stitching out of the bottom of her jeans just so they fit her properly because she's like a size 2.
hmm
And they apparently
yeah.
don't make
No, they don't.
jeans for very skinny, very tall women. Now they have plenty of fashion shows with very skinny, very tall women.
But that's like one section of like
Right.
a very, very minute.
But yeah, like my
population.
sister has to cut the
Ankle.
hem out of the bottom of her jeans, just so she's not walking around looking like she's waiting for the flood to happen.
Flood. And me and Clarissa are apparently the same height. Whoop, whoop.
You forgot the giant Jills.
The giant Jills, yeah, that's us. The Xena warriors and all of us,
I just started watching that again.
Oh yeah, do you think we're gonna see Xena again?
Yes.
Because they were talking about it today.
We have to. She's got to point to
Yep.
Anders.
Do we have anything else to talk about Rosalind's storyline or Tori's storyline?
No, but I do think like Lee's gonna come back. Maybe next episode, but the political stuff is going to ramp up. Like Bobby was mentioning, I think before the stream, that there's not been much Lee Adama, but there'll be more of that. That's what I think is probably going to be.
There's a fucking base star that just jumped into the middle of the fleet. Yeah, I think some political things might be ramping up a bit. Just maybe.
Just maybe.
I'm just gonna throw that out there. If you want to throw it right back, you're more than welcome to. Right?
No, there's nothing that's
things.
gonna happen. They're not even gonna notice that it's right above them or whatever, wherever it shows up. It's like they're just never gonna notice. It's just gonna magically appear. It's never gonna go unnoticed,
And that's actually a great segue to the other half of this story. I like, by the way, that these episodes are getting to the point where it's like 2, possibly 3 storylines. They're trying to pull things together. Like, you can tell that they have a set ending in mind, and they're trying to pull things in that direction. It doesn't seem like they're just throwing out more and more cards on the table to keep playing there.
Yeah, and it's interesting within I guess you could say the Demetrius storyline / spaceship storyline that again, it's one cohesive storyline, but then it's separated into 2 because of what happens, and that this is the big storyline for this episode, like the big part of this episode, the wider scale element, because Rosalind and Emily's and semi-Doc Otto storylines like a small fraction. But I really like. I think this part of this episode was it was interesting to watch because of what happened in the last episode and piecing those together. Yeah, because it picks up moments effectively at the end of last episode, where Hilo's like, "Sorry about your relief from duty," or like, "I'm the
Oh my God,
X-Zone,"
Hilo.
and all of that.
He is in
hot,
trouble.
hot Hilo is
He is in big
spelling out
trouble.
some orders, and
You know, that's a hard one because
Because that's his friend.
well, not just that, they're like besties. They're like,
Mhm.
I think they have
BFFO.
that necklace where like the one has the half the heart and the other one has the other half of the heart. Like
That's on their dog tag. Is they have it's a secret component of the dog tag.
they're like
Woo!
besties. But on the same note, like as an officer, I think in a court martial, Hilo could probably defend his actions.
Yeah, I don't think he was wrong
He was doing what was best for
for the
the
crew.
fleet. Yeah.
But that's his bestie. She could be pissed forever.
And and Bobby, like I do, women, we hold a grudge. So,
You're supposed to
yeah.
be my friend.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Especially when it's a guy who makes you angry. But yeah, he wants to jump back to Galactica because they're going to potentially miss the rendezvous point. But in the commotion that is this moment, Anders like shoots off his gun and is like, "Captain, who's captain of this ship? It's Captain Kenneth Grace." And somehow the bullet gets into Gata's leg, and then they immediately stop their infighting for 5 seconds to take care of Gata, which, is going to be interesting.
That's the first thing Sharon does. First thing Sharon does is try and take care of Gata. Like this is a man who just like tried to mutiny, but first thing she does is
Starbuck?
try and make sure he survives.
Yeah, it was Starbuck. Yeah. Yeah, but that's gonna bring some bad juju. That's gonna bring bad juju when and it's Andrews is revealed that he's one of the final five, because Gata's not gonna handle that very well. He'll be like, "I was shot by a Cylon," or whatever, and like he's gonna be freaking out.
Maybe he was shot just because he was being an asshole.
Well, that too, but he's good.
Yeah, nobody was acting right there.
No.
I love how that scene was done, because it there are similar scenes in other shows that you'll see or other movies, and it feels very contrived. And the way that scene was done, like that felt like exactly what I think it would feel like to be on a ship that a mutiny is going on.
Yeah,
I think it would be that. Going back to the dying of cancer thing. What I love about the show is how gritty and realistic it feels. Like, yes, it's set in a science fiction universe, but it still feels real. It's like these are people just like you and I who happen to be in another paradigm.
I was wondering what the dramatic pause was. I was like, in another.
I was trying to think of the word.
No, I was just wondering if it was like a cut off, like if you cut out, or if it was like I was trying to decipher what it was. I was like, wait, did I cut out for a second?
Dramatic effect is always good, though.
But they're, I mean, they're people just like you and I in another paradigm. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I think is one of the beauties of all these characters is that, you know, they're all so flawed. Everyone in the show is so flawed, and that, to me, reflects the best and worst of humanity.
Hmm. Yeah, and they have Gator get somewhat stable, and then Starbucks like, I want to take the Oban and a Raptor, and we're gonna go to the spaceship and find out what we actually have to do. And she takes Anders, Athena, Valerie, and probably like somebody else with her. Um, they went because yeah, Athena. Yeah, and they
We
want to take
skipped a
them.
couple of things, by the way.
No, I was like summarizing it.
Ah,
And that they only have because they're the Demetrius needs to go back to Galactica, basically jump back to go to Galactica because they wouldn't be able to jump to the base ship and then jump back. And that they have 15 hours and 7 minutes until they jump away, which Hilo is basically like, all right, set the clock, 15 hours and 7 minutes, and if you're not back by then, we gone. Even though he doesn't want to think about that, but um, they have them all head out, and Starbuck sees what has been in her head for episodes now, which was that the drawings that she's been making on the ceilings, on the walls,
Is that the same one she had on her bedroom when she was a kid?
mm-hmm.
Was the basic.
The one she had in her bedroom when she was a kid
Was the
was a
Maelstrom
mandala
from the Maelstrom episode.
from the Maelstrom episode. This is the one that's been stuck in her head since she's got back. And it's a ringed planet with a comet flying past it in a galaxy with 8 planets,
Far, far away.
or in a solar system with 8 planets and a yellow sun. Like, she specifically brings all those things up.
Yeah, and that the comet is actually a piece of, or the comet was actually the base ship, the Cylon base ship that she's seeing.
See
And
how
that
happy she was?
yeah. And then Leoben's like, there, she's finally seen it. Like that kind of whole thing. And Leoben, for all the creepiness that actually that character is, it's kind of not refreshing, but it's like you gotta have the token crazy person, and for this majority of this episode, that is
I kind of like
Leoben.
Leoben.
Yeah, like
Right,
Camel's like
you
a
kinda
whole
think
other
like-
level of crazy.
You kind of think like season 3 Leoben and season 4 Leoben are two totally different characters, almost.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, they kind of put yeah, like Leoben is like an interesting type of crazy, but then Cavill is just like a complete other form of crazy that you're like, I don't want to touch that form of crazy. Like that's just like, nope, not dealing with that. While like Leoben makes you like just think a lot. Because what does he say to Anders? He says something of like, oh, like you better. Oh, Anders is like, oh, you better hope this works, kind of thing. It's like, don't push your luck there, buddy. With Anders, it's like, don't push your luck on that one.
By the way, speaking of Anders, does anybody want to see if Gator wants to go for a walk anytime soon?
You can't.
It was a bad joke.
I know. I was like, yeah, but okay. I don't think there's that much room to like walk around with her anyway. Yeah, and they have Gata in a bunk, or a makeshift bunk for his leg, and Gata says to Hilo, "Don't let Doc Cottle take my leg." And Hilo's like, "Well, I don't know about that one." And he's like, "Promise me." It's like, oh no. Yeah, because Hilo says, "I'm not jumping away. Like, I made a promise. We're not going away." Which that leg has to come off because if they're staying there for 15 hours, like there's septic that comes on like with stuff like that. Like yes, they cleaned it, but how much medical supplies was actually in the med kit on the Demetrius of all places? Like it's like what I said, it's like a old garbage ship kind of thing. So it's like, I don't know about that one. And that's why I think also Gate is gonna go kind of crazy. Also, too, is like because his leg has been taken. But yeah, I think it'll be one of those situations where it's like once the reveal of the final five and it's found out, then because big, like I said earlier in the stream, big political moves are happening, and we got to have another mutiny at some point. I mean, it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows this entire season. Like we have to have some movements going on, and another rebellion. It wouldn't surprise me if that happened, especially too if once everybody finds out that the people, relatively important people on, like the majority of them, minus Sultai, because Sultai is pretty important as the XO, are Cylons. There's going to be rebellion that's going to go on. Anyway,
I do have to say, Gate is another example of how well the makeup was done on this episode. Like he looks, he looks like he's suffering from a major injury. Like just his face is.
Yeah, like the
I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, like and the lighting and like the sweating, yeah, the fake sweat, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, eventually they get onto the base ship. But no, because part of that is that they kind of not crash, but they got hit. But then they somehow make it onto the base ship, and all of the Athena meets the rest of her versions of herself in the multitude, and the eights want to incite a war against the sixes. They're like, let's just like go kill all the sixes, and Athena's like, you made your choice, now stick with your choice, don't be flip-floppy. And they all kind of get mad at her, but I mean it's a valid point. Like when you make a choice, like because they're talking about like, oh, how you're like so awesome, it's like you chose the humans, and then you had a half human, half Cylon child. Like she's like a god for them, like a role model or whatever. It's like you have to make your choice and stick with it. Like that was, like, yeah, life advice from Sharon Agathon.
Rah.
And last week you were both saying that you think that Sharon's gonna turn on everybody.
I think when I meant Sharon, I meant Boomer back in because I keep getting those two mixed up. But I've realized I'm like, no, there's a reason why the two of them are separated, and that's why I said
that. Boomer's dead.
No, she's not.
She re-downloaded before
they've shown it. She's the only one that's still with the
Cavil.
Other part of the Cylon fleet.
Yeah, because she's loving up on Cavil.
Okay, so that's Boomer. And the rest of them are what? Just Sharon's?
Versions of Sharon, I guess. Or her all their
Who
multiple
don't know
versions.
what to do.
Rebel against us with the sixes, and they're like, no. She's like, no. Which was funny.
I love that scene. You know, I
That
really
must have been
like that scene quite a bit.
really hard. Well, like scenes like this ones where they get multiple versions of the actors, like that, especially when they're talking to themselves, that must be very hard to do. It's like, oh, I'm talking to myself here, and then I have to change my voice ever so slightly with this version, and do this ever so slightly with this version. Like,
Oh
that's
yeah,
not
and I think
hard.
this was 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it
What was 2008? So the show, like the year that the show ended, was like what? Or was it still 2007? Because I
I
thought
think
it was like
2007, quite some time ago.
15 years ago. I was 10. Put that into perspective.
I don't even know how old I was.
So you were bringing up. Oh wait, before that, Bobby, do you have any thoughts about Sharon?
Other than, no, Sharon. Athena Sharon?
Athena Sharon. Well, like last week, you expressed an opinion that you thought she was going to.
Yeah, she does. I don't
I
know,
mean,
because she wasn't acting right. She still actually isn't. But when she came across herself, and she said, "You guys disgust me. Pick a side and stick with it, regardless." And that was that. So I guess she's not going to be anybody's traitor. she's maybe she's having a little conflict, but she's doing what she's got to do.
Boomer could be a traitor. No, she could be right, Bobby.
Boomer could be, but Boomer wasn't the one that was on the thing. What was she doing last week that bugged me?
Which one? Sharon? Like Agathon?
Yeah, she must have been.
Oh, she was complaining about Starbuck jumping all of these places.
Oh yeah, she was the one trying to start the mutiny.
Well, she wasn't. I wouldn't say she was the one trying to start it. I think everybody.
She was egging it on pretty good.
With the exception of Hilo, was like.
Hilo,
I mean, you had that little douchebag, the one with the crustache.
The one that got punched.
Yeah,
clocked in the head.
Yeah, clocked in the head.
The one who got Hilo.
Clocked with the Glock.
He got
the one who got Hilo.
I don't know.
That little douchebag, like, talking shit all the time. You have Celix talking shit all the time.
But you gotta have
Is
one.
Is she the one that was in the fight with Six today?
No, that was Ballantyre. It was a different person.
Who is she?
Celix is the one. She's dark red hair, about this length.
Celix was the one that was
kind
of. No.
She's been with the show for a long time. She used to be a member of the Caprica Bucks.
Who was the medic? Oh, she was in the.
She's in the other part of this episode. Bobby Celix was the one that was like on a date with Anders when he heard the music in the bar in the finale episode. No, he was talking to her because they all thought that Starbuck was dead, but it was when he looked at the music and he also made eye contact with Tori.
I don't know. I can't keep these guys straight.
John will have to like share a picture of Felix at one point, but yeah, Sharon and like how Bobby, how did you feel about the Sharons wanting to start fights with the Sixes and want to kill all the Sixes?
I don't know. It's still stuck in my head that they're the weak model. Six isn't weak.
I think it was pointed out this episode that they're the weak model. I think it took another 8 to make it happen. When she's like, "Hey, you need to pick a side and stick to it."
Yeah. I don't know how far. Who's called them the weak model? It was a long time ago. They've always been the weak model. Somebody said it. One of the Cylons said it.
Can't
I think it was
remember.
either you or wait. When it's Cylon said it, yeah, it was 6.
Said that they've always been the weak model.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It was in season 2 on Caprica.
So it keeps popping into my head every time there's anything to go on. Well, they're the weak model.
That may
What
be
exactly did they? Huh?
That may be a thing in like their creation process, that they were maybe one of the harder ones to, or the hardest model to make.
Well, I'm wondering exactly what the other one considers weak, because they're more emotional, or because they can't lift something as heavy as the other ones, or what do you mean weak? They break down mentally and physically? I'm not sure what they mean by weak.
Maybe we'll find out.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. So every time something comes up with them, I'm always
Uber vigilant.
because they're the weak model. Are they getting to that, John? Are they teasing me? Is there anything about that?
He's probably blowing his nose. Give him a second.
I can interrupt him blowing his nose.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious to know why
Yeah,
it's the weak.
Sorry. I have always felt that the implication was that when she said the weak model, she meant emotionally and
Not loyal, maybe?
with her convictions. Like, yeah, it's like, a couple episodes ago it was we need to stand up to the Cavils. Now it's we need to stand up to the Sixes. Like, and
They can't
Athena
choose a
calls her out.
side.
Athena calls her out. She's like, "Hey, you need to choose your side and stick to it."
Right.
She kind of breaks that mold because the rest of them seem kind of helpless.
Right.
You choose that person, and then you fight for that person. Quoting a certain TV show. No, I'm joking. Yeah, and they talk about the mistake that they want. Yeah, they want a mutiny too, which, why? You're all gonna die anyway, so it's like no resurrection shit. Hera?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking too, and I'm like, who is gonna take care of her? And then
who even has her, because them two never do.
The daycare. And then
that's gotta be a big bill.
I'm assuming that the next, because they are military officers, so who's in the military that we know that hasn't been shown in a long time, or relative long time? I thought about it. I was like, maybe D, because we haven't seen D in quite a long time. So it's like all of the other scenes we get without Hera, without her parent, is we don't get Hera. So I guess maybe D makes sense. I don't know, because unless they just pass her along to like different people. But maybe D makes it. Maybe fulfills some part of her life. I don't know.
All right, so
then it jumps to the Six and Leo been
talking about Six's story, or
well, it all kind of spans after them like meeting with the Sixes. Like all of this relates to Six for a while.
I think amazing things are going to happen if Anders just touches that.
Oh, the water for the hybrid. You wanted to touch that so bad. It was
yes.
funny.
Bobby,
I
is there
thought,
a thing that you want Anders to touch? Is that what
yes,
you're saying?
yes. He
So
needs
the
to touch
thing
that
where they
water.
where they do the thing with the hands or whatever
Yes.
in the water.
Didn't you see my post in chat?
Yeah, I saw
Needs
that.
to touch the water.
I was like, what are you talking? I was like, all I saw was like, and then I had to like zoom in onto what you were saying. But yeah, because
He just to touch the water. He wants to. A couple of times he.
Oh, I was
Anderson-
just making a dirty joke. I was asking if there's something that you
John.
specifically want Anders to touch.
Oh no! I just want him to touch the water.
Water, yeah. But yeah,
Clarence is not here this week, so I have to.
I
You
know you must be missing her, especially after that.
yeah. Well, because
Yeah, Anders' story here.
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
the panels of water. Because all of this is they're talking about the hybrid. Because yeah, like Six and Leoben are talking about like Starbuck. The Six is like, are we gonna like stop talking about your model's obsession with this woman? Like it's like this whole thing of like this has been going on for a long time, and it's like the annoying sister of like, can you please stop talking about your god dang it, like girlfriend already? Like, come on, like it's that's how like the Six was acting. It's like a sister who's just like so annoyed that their brother has like one girl that he likes but never like is in a relationship with.
He is kind of obsessed.
But it seems so different than it did earlier.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
his.
the first time when they threw him out the airlock, he was like he is now.
Right. I'm talking about the intervening time, like when he, tried to do the whole Stockholm syndrome thing with
Playhouse.
And Playhouse. That's a very polite way to put it.
Well, because they had the little kid.
Yeah, but he acted different there. It wasn't like, kind of like the Sharons. They don't.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like the Leobium we're introduced to in
7 episodes.
Litmus.
7?
Litmus. I think it's
7.
Season 1, episode 4. It's pretty early on, I think.
See, this Leoben acted like him. He was all about the faith and how important she was.
They seem very similar.
Yeah.
And that begs the question.
Yeah.
Sorry. That begs the question
About the connection to Starbuck.
About the connection to Starbuck.
I mean,
we have some theories. Amy said that she thinks Starbuck's the last Cylon.
Yeah, I was thinking that last week. I don't know if I still think it this week. I think so. I can't think of anybody else, but
I'll mention it when it comes to that point. But it seems like there's been a different plan for Starbuck. Like there is that different plan with Baltar. Like I've been kind of saying. Like the supportive roles that the closest connections to the Cylons play supportive roles in the end game, effectively, minus Callie, because that's like a different thing. Like Starbuck's connection to the Cylons, most specifically Anders, means something, which I'll get into when we talk more about the hybrid. Same thing with Tori, like her connection to the dying leader, Rosalind, means something. Salatai, his connection to William Adama, means something. And all of this stuff. Like, So the upset it may. I think Starbuck's not a Cylon, but she's in some way protected by the Cylon in like
Like
a sense
Baltar.
that- yeah, she's like loved by them, but they don't know why, kind of thing. Or like it's hard to put for them to put their finger on why this person's important. As
But
they
she
like
could
come,
hear the music
what music?
or whatever that was that Leoben said.
Oh, it's no, she'd see things was the big
Or
thing.
he said she can hear the tune. Not many can.
Because she probably knows the music. Not that saying that she can. She can probably understand maybe what that music is. But I don't think because she's. I don't think she's because she knows the music from childhood. So they don't. The rest of them don't know where this music is coming from. They're like, "What is this music?" So if
Right, the Cylons hear it.
yeah, but they don't know why they know that music. Starbuck
But
knows
still,
why she
she
knows that
hears it.
music.
If she hears it too,
There's a difference. That's just my sticking point is that there's a difference because she would know where the music comes from. Like she knows that the music comes from her childhood. I'm assuming related to her father because I don't think her mother would play the piano or whatever.
No, it's established her father was a pianist.
Exactly. So there's a reason. So she closely associates that music with her father, while Anders doesn't know where that music's coming from. Tori doesn't know where that music's coming from. Tyrell doesn't know where that music's coming from. And Saltai doesn't know where the music's coming from. All they know is that it's music that binds them together. So
and
that
they're
makes me,
Cylons.
yeah. But it makes that's the sticking point is that
But
Starbuck knows that it's from childhood, and not I so
so that separates her.
yeah. And I also don't think that Starbuck being a Cylon is too easy. Almost like for me at least for a storytelling perspective it's almost too easy. I think she's different. I think she's important and overall in general. I just think her being a Cylon's an easy write off for such a important character like her.
Did they ever say anything about like parents or what they carry on? Like, did Baltar's grandfather build Cylons?
She said corporations were responsible, and then companies, corporations, the government. I'm trying to
Right, but how do
well,
they pick certain people to be important? Unless it was from the history.
unless they've all been around for that long and they just don't remember it. Which will probably be a thing that they talk about in the coming episodes. Is how long that they've been around for.
How do you guys feel about the headshot?
Oh, the 6 with the Bellatrix. Alleray. That is an interesting thing, like the whole 6 killing Alleray.
She couldn't help herself.
Yeah. Like that she was so overconfident though. She's like, "Oh, I might as well put you down again." And then the 6 was like, "Nope." And then it's like body like
We'll take
Well,
care of
there's
you.
that, and then I'm talking more specifically about what's the new Six's name?
I can't remember. I just go by hair color. So it's like not bleach blonde, dirty blonde.
I think it starts with an E. But taking out the other 6 for doing that. And saying, well, now she's dead. She's dead as your friend. So
Yeah, no resurrection ship. Human Is that enough human justice for you? Blood for blood. That's what she says.
Eye for an eye.
Mhm.
Which I kind of makes you almost feel guilty for the fact that like that's how the Cylons look at us. Is that's our driving force.
Mhm.
Is just things like uh, revenge and so forth.
People are not nice. They picked
Nope.
up on that really well.
Yeah, they understood that quite fast. That
Yeah, they've pointed out several things throughout the series that now
just like
now
me.
we're just like you. What did she want to kill somebody so she could be more human?
Well, I know this show.
Well, also, I think she wanted to prove, like, hey, this is how serious we are.
Mhm.
Like, this person took out a member of your crew, eye for an eye. And by the way, her name's Natalie.
There we go. There's me in there, so you're close.
That ended in one.
But I know this show came out afterwards, but I'm not so sure about the movie. Or no, the movie came out before this show. But with it's like with Westworld and how that they can remember certain things. Like that was a recall based on the person that killed them. So the fact and the fact that the only difference between the Cylons and the humans is that they die, which is a sticking point in Westworld is that they don't die, or they do die, but then they come back. So they can't understand like that concept of feeling those emotions. So the fact that there's like the no resurrection ship and that they're basically the same people, it's like it affects them in the same way. It's like, yeah, well, this person died, well, we'll kill the person who killed them because that's human justice. So you probably enjoy that.
So, I haven't watched Westworld, but really, they're I don't like that. I don't like that there are no consequences if someone dies and comes back. Like, that was one of the cool things about the episode
No,
Scar.
it makes them they wipe their memories of that thing.
Oh, okay.
It's like a thing of like pretty much so it's like because what they're given is so in the show they're basically the hosts, the androids are given storylines, multiple like 20 like 20 to like 100 storylines, and then variations on those storylines, which is like effectively putting all of the versions of every single Cylon model instead of giving them one version of themselves, just giving them like into one person. That's basically how I can explain it. It's like
Gotcha.
yeah. So, and then they just die and can come back, but they get repaired and then they come back.
I didn't like
But yeah,
this word.
it can be very like a thing where it's quite complex in like it's
I got the
attitude.
season 2, episode 3, and that was it.
Oh, you missed like some of the stuff with the Man in Black's daughter. Ooh, that stuff. Ooh.
Or Johnny said that's where it started to get good, but I just couldn't bring myself to watch it again.
Yeah, the Man in Black's daughter comes into play. Anyway,
So we
another
got a lot of screen time with my girlfriend this episode.
your sweaty starb.
No, I was talking about the hybrid.
Oh, you're hot. Oh, because she sits in that tub there.
I don't know, it reminds me of the Matrix. I don't really like her in the tub.
Yeah. Yeah, 6 brings them to the hybrid. And yeah, Leoben's like understand what she's saying. but also in between that, it's like Anders wants to touch the water, and then it's called away. It's like a little kid like wanting some like chocolate or something on the counter, and then their mom yells at them to like Jimmy, and then it's like that's
Yeah, it
basically
looks more
what.
like he was mesmerized.
Yeah, it's
Like he
I
didn't
don't
have,
want it.
he wasn't paying attention to what he was doing. Like he was
Yeah,
drawn to it.
yeah. It's almost like a thing of like, let me just see if I can. And it's like, nope. It's like a thing of like, oh, I wasn't doing anything. Like what?
So
My
you're
hand
thinking
wasn't.
this reinforces
Well, that.
your
Um,
theory that
that as well as Starbuck said if she found out that he was a Cylon, that she would shoot him in the head. I don't think she would. I'm thinking that she's not going to shoot him in the head, but it may be somebody else. Because, say for example, like how I think it could be like a thing of like if there is a mutiny that's to come, because it's bound to like because there's a rebellion that's gonna come with the fact that the XO when the Cylons are revealed, and that the XO is a Cylon. One of the chiefs is a Cylon. Anders is a Cylon. Tori is a Cylon. So it's like all of these important people in power
For all
are
Cylons.
they're all Cylons, minus like the next level up in power is like a Cylon thing.
as
So
far as you know,
yeah, as far as we can know and anticipate, but even then, it's like eh. So I expect a mutiny to happen, and it's not going to be Starbuck, but somebody's going to like get revenge or like attempt to like kill one of them, and maybe Anders. But they're like, oh no, we gotta like treat him, and then they end up like testing him and putting him in making him Cylon, because also you gotta be with the Galactica, they're gonna have to have maybe their own version of a hybrid to compete with Cavill and all of his like crazy science magic and all of that, if there's gonna be a war with the Cylons, another one anyway. So
what are your
if
thoughts, Bobby?
that happens,
I think my mind wandered.
basically I said that Anders in a mutiny is gonna get shot in the head, and then they're like, oh, we gotta stay, like he's gonna survive it, but then they're gonna be like, oh, well, gotta put him in and make him a hybrid, effectively.
Make him one?
Yeah, like they're gonna not make him, but they're gonna like try test him, because they're all. I feel like it's gonna be after this Cylon review that all of this is gonna happen.
I think something important's got to go on with him too, but I don't think it's going to happen till he touches that damn water.
Now we're all wearing glasses. Team Cylon glasses. Cylon Johnson gels with glasses. Glasses edition.
I definitely think something's going on with
The only person we need to get glasses is Johnny. Like everybody else, at least has to wear them occasionally.
Yeah. Johnny just has really good vision, I guess. He has to get those blue light glasses. Be a fake glass.
Like some of those like hipster fake glasses.
He just needs geek glasses.
Yeah, then we can be all glasses.
Look at me, I wear glasses and I don't shave and I haven't showered in a month.
I was about to say, I was like about to be like, wait, what? And then I was like, no, that's.
Yeah, I didn't know how to respond.
I was about to be like, I was like,
I was
you're
talking
really.
about half of the kids who hang out with my friend, or half of the kids who hang out with my son.
Yeah, I was like, wait, huh? But then I was like, oh wait, no, you're probably just imitating somebody.
Come on, you gotta read all about all the celebrities who don't like to shower. It's the in thing. They don't
Have
shower,
you
they
like
don't wash their hair.
have you like there's a video that's online and it's like what happens to your body if you don't shower for like I think it, like the video was like for 2 months or something like that, and I'm just like, what? It's like, oh, I'm like,
I don't
I,
think I would watch that.
yeah, it was basically like eventually your hair just like adapts to like being greasy. It's like the weirdest thing. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway. Speaking of people who don't shower very much, Starbuck meets the hybrid, and she's like, the hybrid's doing a jibber jabber, but Lupin's like, you just have to wait, and you have to listen to what she's saying. You can't like rush this process, which is very true.
Can I drop a hint?
But
You want to
Of
sit
course.
there and go back through every video? Every single thing the hybrid has ever said is important. It's not jibber jabber.
no, I was just basically
No, but it
making this
sounds like it because it's like sounds random.
because
Right.
that's and also not well, some of the stuff that she says like too we're just like not focusing on that, so it's like blah 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 blah, blah, blah and then to like the important like for at least for the moment the important line shows up. What?
Didn't Leoben explain that
Mhm.
at some point?
Yeah, basically it's like you gotta listen to what she's saying and you can't like rush like rush to try and get what you want out of her.
It's
But
like
that's
that
what
professor
Starbucks.
you had in school who like took 4 minutes to explain a very simple concept that could have taken 1 minute. You know,
That happens.
Get on
do you
with
have any
it.
of those currently, but Mackenzie?
Well, I don't have a professor right now.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah, I've had
you're
them in the past.
doing your internship.
Yeah, but I've had them in the past. Um, but basically,
I'm going to read you guys this quote. Thus shall it come to pass, the dying leader will know the truth of the opera house. The missing 3 will give you the 5 who have come from the home of the 13th. You are the harbinger of death, Cara Thrace. You will lead them all to their end. End of line. Which end of line, like, is used dramatically in this series, but it's
Hopefully, it means they find Earth.
in computer programming. That's how you end a sentence.
Right.
Like is end of line.
yeah, that's how you end a sentence.
What do you think that means? Because she like literally grabbed her hand.
Okay, so I was writing this down, and I wasn't because where I was getting this from did not have um the captions on how to spell this word. So I was like, I'm a stickler for usually knowing how to write words that are important like this. So I was like, how do you spell this word? So it showed up, and when you like look it up on Google, it says that the appearance of a ghost is often known as the harbinger of death. So maybe she's a ghost or a ghost of herself. I mean, if Voltaire says that he sees angels, maybe she's an
Isn't that what
angel.
6 was supposed to be? The one in his head?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Or
she
like,
said that in season 1.
yeah, like if Voltaire sees these people,
In season 1, the Six in Baltar's head said she's an angel of God, sent to help bring humanity to their end.
To bring humanity to their end.
Mm-hmm.
So Starbuck may be similar to that.
And now Starbuck is
End of the
the
line.
harbinger of death, meant to bring humanity to its end.
Maybe.
Maybe
And
end
I
of the
think-
line just means they get them to Earth. The
Yeah,
end of
and
their
then
space.
start anew.
No, and that's why I premise this. End of line is literally like in computer programming. You don't see it when you're reading something, but it's
Maybe it's like an SOS or a telegram.
yeah, end of line. Yeah, like a telegram. Exactly.
And stop.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like
Why do
instead
you
of
think I
saying
started every
period.
episode with the words "hello, friend"? Do you know why?
You've said
No.
this before. It's quite funny.
It was the first thing ever typed over the internet.
Didn't they do something like that in the Matrix?
Probably.
I damn well know it's in American Gods. I'm not sure if it's in the Matrix.
I mean,
When
yeah,
when
like back in
Trinity
the-
was typing
like-
to Neo.
Before you and I were born, Bobby, when the internet was first like literally conceived, back in the late 1960s, early
Yeah.
1970s, it was the very first message that was ever sent over the internet was "hello, friend."
In case they got some alien comeback.
or
Or
Cylon.
It's better than singing "Mary Had a Little Fucking Lamb." That's what Alexander Graham Bell did.
But going back to what the hybrid is saying, it's like the dying leader, is Rosalind. I don't think anybody else is dying anytime is soon.
Better
Besides
hope
that,
not.
will know the truth of the opera house, meaning that she will understand what that means, like why they're all together and seeing all these things, and why Hera is extra important, even though she's already important, but why she's extra important, and that Deanna's gonna come back. They're gonna unbox Deanna, probably in the next episode, and that Deanna is going to tell them who the final 5 are, and that they come from the 13th tribe, I'm assuming, or the 13th planet, because there's 12, because the 12 colonies, or the 13th colony, or whatever you want to call it, and that I said Kara and Harbinger, but I put them together and it's like Carabinger. That Kara is the harbinger of death, and to bring people to the end, bring people to its end. It could be that once they get on Earth, or whatever version of Earth is, what their interpretation of Earth is, that it's the end of being in space, even though we're always in space, but
That's what I'm
but-
thinking. The end of that.
Yeah.
The end of that
And
era. Or maybe it's the end of Cylon human war.
yeah, and it's just they all are all just like live happily ever after.
And what is this 3 and 5 bit?
Deanna is number 3
Yeah.
in the order of the Cylon, and
Yeah.
5 is the final 5. So Tyrell, Ty, Tori, Anders, and whoever's number 5. So because Deanna knows that all of those 5 people are Cylons. So
Okay, so that's part of the prophecies. That's why they boxed her up so she won't tell. And
jibber jabber, yeah. So she won't go around and be like, so and so is a Cylon.
so they have to unbox her so she can point out. She's going to point out the 4 that are trying to hide first.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah. It just seems like, there's she's gonna point them out and be like, well, they're like all here or whatever, or something, or like majority of them are here right now, like that kind of thing, or in your fleet or something. Like she's gonna be like not overt, like gonna be like it's you, like pointing, like when she gets on the ship or whatever. She'll be like it's you. Oh, and what about it's you over there? Like it's not probably not gonna do that because that'd be too obvious.
I don't know. I think Anders probably gonna dip his toe into that pool before she points him out. He's having a hard time resisting.
Yeah, it's like give me my let me just reveal my Cylonness now, please. Like
Wouldn't
that's what he's like
have a
doing.
hard time resisting, like whether you were a Cylon or not?
Huh?
I don't know. I don't like to touch stuff.
Like for me, it's just the whole thought that there has to be someplace this hybrid's getting all this knowledge and information from. And there's at least a part of me that even if I
It's
were,
just water.
even if it drove me as insane as a hybrid.
So what is that water doing?
Seems. Even if it were as insane as a hybrid seems, like I would just want all that information, regardless of the consequences. There's a part of me that very much.
So John wants to be crippled by knowledge of the universe.
Yeah, I don't want all that. I don't want the knowledge I have.
But I think in terms of the water, I think it's it's like an adds to like an element of like how, because she's in like water, but it's like goo at the same time. So it's probably like one of the
conduit.
It's neutral. Water is somewhat neutral. So it's like because
John, you can
can't
tell
like touch hot. Like basically, why do they touch water when they're like analyzing stuff? Is what Bobby's asking. Like
I think it must flow through them all when it does that, because they don't have to talk; they just know.
Oh, and the scene when the blood goes in.
That's kind of icky.
It's pretty.
Yeah. But Bobby's asking like, why do the Cylons all have to like touch the water to have like an understanding, or when they mutually agree,
touch the water,
agree on something or not? Unless you can't tell us because it's something that comes later.
Like today, she said, "Okay, we can do it, and we can do this." So, were they picking up knowledge? Is that like their computer hookup?
Yeah.
Yes.
In a way,
yeah, it was like knowledge goes through the water and right into them.
Right.
It's weird. Okay. Good enough.
Yeah. And then basically they get back on the Raptor, and then they jump back with like, what was it, like less than 5 seconds spare or something like that.
Didn't they go over their time?
I mean, it's so tropey. These people are supposed to be here by X time, and then we're gonna leave, and then it just goes like a little bit over X time. Like it's a very tropey thing, but I thought it was pulled off pretty well in this episode.
Yeah, because then they recognize that it's a base ship, and then they're like, wait. And it's like, no, it's like that we actually hold the base. Like Athena Demetrius, like we hold the base ship or whatever. Like that was like, it's one of those moments where like, oh, thank God that they made it back.
Like even though you knew it was gonna happen, that moment when the base ship just jumps out and you see how much bigger it is, you're just like, oh my gosh.
Yep.
Like I thought that was really, I've always said that I love what they did with
Stop it.
their budget.
Sorry, while I'm picking on the dog.
That's fine.
No. I agree with you. Oh, I thought you said style. I love what they did with their budget to keep things still like it's like, hey, we don't need to have all these amazing cuts. We just need to have this one.
Mhm.
And yeah, when that base ship just jumps out, and you see how tiny the Demetrius is next to it, you're just like, whoa.
I've never heard of this Demetrius ship before.
Yeah, because it was what was it? A
Really, Bobby?
I never heard
It's
that.
a decommissioned trash.
It's the ship they've been riding on for 58 days.
Bobby didn't probably know the
Where'd
name
you get
of
it?
it.
Starbuck and everybody has been on.
It was a decommissioned trash ship or something, right? Yeah, that's why it was, because that's what was the big kerfuffle of like 2 episodes
Where's it been
ago.
sitting?
Goes with the fleet. Like that's why, because that's when the Quorum of 12 was like, why is the Demetrius all of a sudden not with us anymore? Like that's why like Adama was like, it's because it's on his covert mission, blah blah blah. Like that, yeah, is to make it hidden but not hidden at the same time.
That brings up a point. Do you think Adama or somebody is eventually just going to get fed up with the Quorum of 12?
Well, I'm fed up with him.
I think the Quorum of 12 is going to disband before it
Is that where
before anybody gives up on it.
is that where Apollo went?
Yeah,
Yes.
because he's a representative of Caprica, I think, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so that's like a little mini president of each country, each whatever.
Yeah, it's almost like a
G7 or the G8 or whatever that is.
Yeah,
it's like all of them meet to discuss stuff.
A senate or a confederacy.
Like when all the countries discuss, like, let's discuss how we want to save the planet. Like, how much carbon are you gonna use? How much carbon are you gonna use? It seems like it's that kind of thing. And then like,
well, they won't be needed if they find Earth. Oh crap!
Exactly.
Dead battery.
That's probably gonna disband before it actually goes any further. Like it's gonna be around for a bit, but again, I think the impending mutiny when the Cylons are revealed is gonna break that up. But,
poke that.
yeah, they jump back and makes you. That's kind of the end of that episode. Is when the Cylons jump back. Well, the Cylon base ship jumps. And yeah.
Well, I remember last week you,
Mm-hmm.
I forget who it was, but somebody brought up that they thought that the whole Cylon on Cylon attack was fake. And I like that now, this episode, we realize, like, when they pop into there, when they jump into there, it's like, nope, this really fucking happened. Like,
I don't remember who said that. I don't know if it was me. It might have been me.
So the end of this episode, the conversation that Rosalind and Adama have.
About the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, they're effectively the parents to all of the rest of the characters, minus Ty. You know, Ty's that crazy uncle. Or the drunk uncle, depending on how you look at it. Yeah, like he says, like I don't know, like Lee, he gave up his. What does he say? He's like Lee gave up his wings. Kara's now on this mission. Gator, Hilo,
Maybe he's the
and
leader
Athena.
that's gonna die.
Maybe.
Excuse me.
Like I don't know if I'll ever see them again. Like he's like one of the he's really feeling his like severe empty nest syndrome almost of like it's like on a severe level because half of these people aren't even his kids. And he's like almost in a slight depressive mode and he's like the woman like he doesn't say it, but he's like the woman that I love is like dying and all of this stuff. It's like he's kind of depressed a little bit. And it's completely understandable.
The woman I love. So are you like totally shipping?
They were with the first season. You asked who was the ship of or the relationship that you most like in this show, and I said Bill and Laura. Like I was like, these two people are so cute together. Like, come
What
on,
if he's the leader that dies?
the Admiral.
Yeah.
That'd be a spin on its head. Like
Could
if,
happen. He's a little stressed. He might just have a heart attack.
Laura survives. Dun, 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 plot twist.
Maybe she's a hybrid. You got to stuff her in that water.
Throw her in the water and be like, let's see how you survive.
Adama, doesn't he baptize somebody and leave them to drown?
That was the baby that Johnny keeps sometimes bringing up. That Adama was holding a baby and then the baby just drowned in the water.
What was that all about? We got to see what that was about.
What if Starbucks the dying leader?
No, I think they're going.
Is she a leader? She is.
She's a captain. No, I think they're going more literal on this. And then it's like Laura Roslin.
You never know because the prophecies are always goofy.
She was the one that they were mentioning in the scriptures too. It was like she was like the one that was also dying when they were wanting to go to.
Yeah, but she already almost died. She had her shot.
But she's dying again. That's the thing.
Well, they didn't say the dying leader twice.
They did say it, didn't they, in the scriptures? So it was like a Kobo, or when they were going to Kobo in like season 2, it was like
she don't get 2 shots. Whatever.
Some people do. I think so though. I think that it was like that she was the dying leader in that when they were on Kobo, and then now I feel like she didn't. They missed their mark on that. That one.
Well, she said that she was the dying leader.
Yeah, so now it's like almost like it's everybody else.
Priestess said that.
I'm getting too tired.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no. All right, any final thoughts about the episode, ladies?
It's an awesome episode.
Yeah, really good. I liked it.
Oh, I think it's one of the best of the entire series.
Yeah, I think it was really good. I feel like there's going to be more political stuff, obviously, coming up, and the spaceship's going to be something that they might we might see more of in the coming episodes.
Excuse me. Oh,
and
yawning.
You know me, I still think that Ellen is the last Cylon.
She better come back.
That woman, the first thing that Ty says when he's like when he finds out that they're all Cylons is like, what about Ellen? And then that still sticks with me because man, yeah, because I like I said, there has to be an older woman, like at least in my thought process, is like there has to be an older woman who was one of the original 5. Like it makes sense because there's an older man, meaning Saltai. So there should be an older woman to counterbalance that. And if their
I
love
wonder what
is
number they are.
so epic, why not the fact that they were a married couple for centuries? Makes sense. And
What's your ranking on this episode?
Bobby, go ahead. Because I know you got a couple good ones that you put in the chat.
I give it a 10. Well, what's that? Helos. 10 helos, peers pressured. I thought that was funny.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm a goofball, can't have it. Definitely a 10 out of 10. I liked this one a lot.
And predictions for next week?
No.
Nothing.
Bobby.
No.
There's an next episode.
Yeah.
If
The
it
go-to
goes-
prediction.
And
I predict I'm going to watch it sooner than later.
hey, you can watch it right after we get off the air.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to stay awake. And you know what? It runs and runs and runs. So if I wake up in the middle of the episode after it, could be a problem.
Apparently you can watch it now. I was looking up ways to watch it, and someone said that because it's now not on Amazon, you can watch it on Sci-Fi's website. Apparently.
Yeah, that's where I got it. I got the Apple TV, and that's exactly what it did. It made me get the Sci-Fi app. So I don't know what Apple TV is, but I don't think I need it to get the Sci-Fi app. But now I got to watch it with commercials, and it still goes directly to the next episode.
Who's your Cylon for this week?
I'm gonna stick with Kara because I don't have any idea, and they just make her look guilty. So,
But is she guilty as charged?
yeah, she may not be a Cylon. She might be just like Gaius. Gaius could be God. Maybe she is too. Maybe she's God. Who knows? Maybe
that
that's
make
why
her
she
like
remembers that.
Mary?
Huh?
Mary.
Would that make her like the Holy Virgin?
Oh yeah, definitely.
She is totally Virgin
Mr.
Mary.
Buck is A, holy, and B, a virgin.
Yeah. Immaculate conception. Totally. Right?
I think they've forgotten stuff, but it's kind of hard to make them be anything other than what they are because, if they're not Cylons, they certainly don't have the aging capabilities.
Well,
So it had to be like family members or something that they're attached to.
They may. We've seen an episode where Saltai was significantly younger than the show currently.
He's a Cylon.
Right, but he was significantly younger.
Right, but the humans can't age slowly or whatever like they are.
Well, it was 20 years.
But still.
Yeah.
So do you think that the Saltai that Adama met was a Cylon, or do you think it was a different Saltai and then the Cylons replaced him? Which are you saying here?
The bottom Altar and Starbuck, if they're not Cylons, how are they connected to the Cylons?
I don't think they're replaced. I think they just don't know. And they're meant to age. Pretty good programming, honestly. But if they are so attached to Baltar, why are they attached to him? Why does he see a so-called angel type whatever 6 in his head? Somebody must have programmed, long ago. I don't know. It's either got to be a family trait.
Or maybe she's telling the truth. Maybe she really is an angel from God.
Well, she might be.
So
But
that-
why does she
Christian cult.
need Gaius? Why is Gaius so special? Why is he now preaching? He's preacher.
Because he's pious Gaius.
Oh, he's such a loon.
Hmm. What if
He has changed his attitude though, because he was so self-absorbed in the beginning.
Well, we did find out that when was it? Like last season, that like Gaius has lied about where he's come from. Like he had come from a different planet than he claimed to. So maybe there's different, what's it called? Dimensions. That there's like a this dimension Gaius,
Oh.
and the rest of them have like a
I
different.
don't know, but I was thinking like maybe way back when he designed the Cylons where they would naturally think of him as their god or whatever.
You got to remember that one. It was. I'm just pointing out. It was 40 years ago that the first Cylon War happened. Like Gaius Baltar wasn't even born then.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They didn't so it couldn't be him, but is it something back in his family's, a generation or two ago? Did somebody, was his family in on making them or
Gotcha.
designing them, and something got passed down through them so they would recognize that family as and still put him up there as someone real important?
Hmm.
Did they mention any of that? I mean, do we have anything to go on? Anything to shut me up?
No, that's part of the fun. You're supposed to try and figure it out.
I don't like not to know. I want the answers now.
Mackenzie, what's your ranking for this episode?
Skip you.
What
Done.
9.5. Dang it! What did I put it at? 9.5. Damn it! What was it? I had it and then I lost it.
Oh no!
Darn it! I didn't write it down either.
You got to type it in chat
Forgot. Dang it!
when you think of it.
Oh, here you go. 9.5. Hair replacing handkerchiefs. There we go.
I'm sorry?
Like hair replacing handkerchiefs. So it's like, because you know how she hasn't had wigs. Well, she'll probably have a wig next episode, but for now she's wearing handkerchiefs as her hair replacement.
It was a silk one. It was really nice.
It was very pretty. She even said that there's one person who makes them, and that you can go and ask for another one. I was like, I'd be like, yeah.
I think I would wear that as a bandana.
Yeah, or like a scarf.
It's a really pretty. Yeah, it's really pretty. I actually found that scene to be really touching.
Mm-hmm.
It was really emotionally moving scene. I also agree with Bobby. I give this 10 out of 10. Gangrenous gun wounds.
Gangrene. Oh, Jesus. Gangrene. It's funny because there's so many commercials in America that Johnny finds when he sometimes is watching TV that mention gangrene. And I'm like,
It's
thank
my
God
money and I want it now.
I'm like, thank God we don't get many commercials that mention all of these things about the drugs. Like, if you take this, you may get a heart attack and like a bunch of other things. It's like, but also this.
I always love the ones for antidepressant medication that say may cause suicidal thoughts.
Yeah,
It's like,
they all do.
it's so stupid. But
Here,
I mean,
take this. Don't read it.
Yeah. So it's like, it's so stupid, but they have to say it just 'cause, yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
Peter's here.
it's Peter. But yeah, like What if because Starbuck, I know we're like at the end here, but now this is making me think that if Starbuck is the harbinger of death, means that she died, like John said, that she probably died, and that Earth is where she became anew again, and that's why she knows how to get there. But also at the same time, also what made me think about it is either this Starbuck has misplaced her dog tags, or she doesn't wear them anymore. Or
Yeah, she gave them to Anders, remember?
No, I thought
She gave them to Anders when she left Caprica. When she...
no, because they have
right after
two.
the farm. I think it was the end of the farm.
Well, they have two sets. Thought they have two.
Of what?
She had two dog tags, but she gave them to him.
No, I thought she gave him one.
I thought she gave him one also.
Yeah,
I'll
because they swapped dog tags, I'm pretty sure.
I didn't see them swap any.
But I feel like they gave like one. I'll have to rewatch it, but I'm pretty sure she gave him one and he gave her one, I think.
Well, here's your clue. Dog tags are very important.
Exactly. So that's why I'm like, where's her dog tag? Because she hasn't worn them in a while. But yeah, that was my big thing. I remember from this because I was like, wait, because they're focusing on her. I'm like, where's her dog tags? Do you think they'd have them? But anyway, yes. Bye.
So, any other thoughts on the episode before we go, ladies?
Nope. That was the last thing I wanted to bring up.
One of the best in the series, though. Seriously. Amazing episode.
Next week.
I feel we're getting somewhere now. Finally.
Did either of you feel anything when Natalie shot the other 6?
That must have been awkward for either the person she had to kiss to be like sister, or she had to kiss herself. But it was like this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that was what I got out of that. I was just like, that's funny.
I thought that was an important scene, though. But yes, next week, episode 7.
Guess what's coming to dinner, I think is what that's called. Because I was looking at the picture for the thumbnail that'll go up, and that's what it's called.
That was a good part in that.
Well, like I told you both at the beginning of the season, like this is when it really ramps up. And I'm sure you can tell that thus far.
Yeah. I feel like the first part of the episode will be a continuation from this point. So. Anyway, we'll talk about that next Friday.
Next Friday. So all of you who are out there right now or you're joining us later, please come see us next Friday, 9 p.m. Same Cylon time, same Cylon channel.
With the same.
And, I'm sorry.
I said with your favorite local Cylons models.
With your favorite local Cylons.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of giant Jills.
Mm-hmm. Your giant Jills and your Cylon John.
But in the meantime, please be excellent to one another, and so
say we all.
Bye, you toasters.